Azure Data Factory is the backbone of Azure data engineering interviews. And in 2025, competition is really high. That's why I have created this complete Azure Data Factory project, which will cover everything you need from scratch, including on-prem files migration to Azure blobs, data ingestion using REST APIs, data migration from SQL database to data lake, incremental data ingestion using modern architecture, setting up logic apps to send failure alerts, code repository and Git integration for DevOps, data transformations using different file formats such as Parquet, JSON, Delta, etc., scheduling the automatic orchestration of the pipelines, building a medallion architecture, and much more. But why I have covered so much in this particular project? The answer is very simple. Because you need to level up in 2025 and you actually need to master Azure Data Factory before sitting in the interviews. And you know the best thing? With the God's grace, a lot of people have already cracked the top MNCs by following the project videos on this channel. You just need to be focused and you just need to complete the project thoroughly. That's it. So if you want to crack your dream job this year, you need to just start it by writing down in the comment section that I will crack my dream role, dream job this year. And rest of the things will be taken care by this video. So let's get started. So what's up my fam? Happy Sunday to all of you. Today's Sunday is very special because you will get some news, some new things and all. So let's discuss everything. First of all, Azure Data Factory Masterclass. Basically, this is a masterclass with the help of an end-to-end project. I know that Azure Data Factory is very much in demand. So what I thought, I know that I also have one tutorial, which is like very basic tutorial. What I thought, Azure Data Factory is the backbone of all the Azure related data engineering roles. And not even that, for Fabric as well, Data Factory is there. So I thought let's learn, or you can say let's master Azure Data Factory with respect of an end-to-end project with respect to Data Factory only. Yes, I have made so many projects in which we have just integrated so many technologies, but this project will be purely using Azure Data Factory. Purely Azure Data Factory. Why? Because you will learn a lot of advanced features. You will learn all the ins and outs, how you just perform in the real world with respect of Azure Data Factory. And the best thing, you will actually learn the real-time scenarios that you can actually highlight in your resume. Because the thing is, I feel so happy. So just the recent incident, I just got one message on LinkedIn and the person was saying, hey, I just cracked one data engineer role and I got offers from multiple top MNCs. He didn't disclose the company name, and obviously I also didn't ask the company name. I think, yeah, I remember the company name. I think he mentioned in that particular message. So obviously I cannot take the name. So I feel literally so happy when people DM me, or let's say comment on the YouTube videos that they just crack the offers, they just crack the top MNCs, or you can say big 4 companies. I literally feel so happy. And then they just share the experiences as well. Like, let's say if someone is asking in the reply, hey, what did you do? So obviously they just put this thing, hey, I just followed Ansh Lamba's project videos and I just explained very well in the interviews. So I think if my projects are helping you all, so it's my duty to just create more and more in-depth projects, because I knew the pain, because in the interviews you have to put some real-time projects, and that is the only motivation behind the project videos that I make. And I literally feel happy when people say, hey, your project videos are actually real-time project videos. Yes, we use very simple data set, maybe on Kaggle, maybe on open data set, which is available widely, because we cannot use any company's data set, which is like against, you can say, any kind of company rule. That is why we use open data sets. But I add a particular X factor in my project. With the help of those, you can say, clean data set, we create complex pipelines, we create complex scenarios, and then we try to solve those problems. So that is the kind of X factor in my projects that I put. And I literally feel happy that you guys are cracking interviews using those project videos. And obviously, using a clean data set versus not using a clean data set is actually not making a difference. What you are doing with that particular data set, what exactly the problems you are solving with that data set is actually making the difference. So in my project videos, I create scenarios that are strongly aligned with the industry that most of the data engineers will be doing in the real life. So it's not about data. It's about orchestration. It's about, you can say, making the flows, how data can travel from one place to another, considering all the real-time scenarios. And that legacy will be followed in this project as well. A lot of you will say, hey, what is the prerequisite for this project? What is blah, blah, blah? And what is this video for? What is the agenda? So the thing is, this video is for beginners. Why? Because this video will be covering everything from scratch, very much in detail. So if you do not have any prior experience with Azure Factory, you can continue with that video. If you are intermediate, you have some experience, this video is for you. Why? Because we're gonna cover some amazing, you can say, scenarios that you will be tackling, and modern scenarios, not the, you can say, old school scenarios. Incremental data loading, but with respect to data lake. What? Just a hint, we will not be using watermark table because that is like outdated approach. So that is one thing. Second thing, loading data from on-prem to Azure. We will not be using on-prem SQL database. No, we will be using on-prem blob storage because that is the, you can say, most in-demand technology right now in order to travel data from on-prem to Azure, because AI is here, and for AI, you need to work with blobs, right? So we're gonna tackle some amazing real-time scenarios as well with respect to this project. And there is a great news, just a quick news. And I was thinking like I should not share it, but I thought like, let's share it. So today is, I think, Sunday. So next Sunday, 3rd of August, it's my birthday. So I'll be waiting for your wishes. I'll be waiting for your messages. Really? So I'm a baby from inside. So I really like messages whenever you send. Okay, all the wishes, all the blessings. So I'm open to all of those messages. So just spread out all your feelings, all your thoughts on my birthday. I'll be reading all the messages. I will make sure that I will be replying. Even I will just make sure. Make sense? Okay, so let me just share the architecture of this project with you, and let me just give you a brief introduction. But I don't want to give you a, you can say, in detail introduction about architecture, because you will be learning everything by doing it in this particular video with respect to Azure Data Factory. And you know what? We also gonna cover Azure Logic Apps, which is the backbone for alerting system. This video has a lot of things. I'm really excited to get started with this. So let's get started. So this is the architecture of the project. Without delaying, let's focus on the source. As you can see that we have so many different types of sources. See, in this project, we gonna master Azure Data Factory. So obviously it's my duty to cover all the famous and all the in-demand data sources. Number one, on-premise. Let me just tell you, on-premise data sources are also of different formats. Two are the most used and widely adapted: on-premise SQL database and on-premise files. On-premise SQL database is not a big deal right now, I think, because now companies have already started migrating the data. They have already set up their pipelines, because on-premise SQL data migration was a big thing approximately 2 to 3 years ago. But now they have already built their pipelines, and now their pipelines are running fine. They actually do not need to worry about anything. So what is the in-demand thing for on-premise data source? So now the new thing which is in demand is on-premise data files, because companies have stored so many files, especially finance team. Data is stored actually in the restricted drives. Okay. And they want to continue doing that. Why? Because obviously they have like some restricted data. They have some invoices, they have some financial data. So obviously they want to keep that data within the restricted drives, but at the same time they want to migrate it. For what? For data modeling, for data warehousing, for data lakes, data lake house, for all those use cases. Make sense? So that is why migrating on-premise data files is the new in-demand thing. So I have covered this topic very much in detail, covering all the errors, all the, you can say, blocks that you can see in this particular video. Okay. Then we are also gonna cover SQL database, because obviously SQL database is like SQL database. Either it's on-prem, cloud. SQL database is SQL database. So you have to like master migrating data from SQL to data lake. Then we're gonna make some API calls, REST APIs, and we're gonna use GitHub as well. So we're gonna actually just ingest data from so many different sources. And do you know what? We are going to create dynamic pipelines, and it will not be like just normal dynamic pipelines. Let me just give you a hint, because I don't want to give you some spoilers, because this project is actually very adventurous. For example, incremental loading. Incremental loading is not a new concept. We know that. But you know what? Incremental loading is actually updated with the time, or I would say is recently updated in the late 2024 and in the early 2025. People used to use watermark tables for their, you can say, incremental data loading, date, storage. But now we do not use watermark tables. Why? Because we do work with lakehouse. We do work with data lakes, right? So you cannot create watermark tables in data lakes. What do we do as an alternative to it? You will get to know within this video. So there are so many updates in the traditional approaches, plus new concepts, plus all the things that you need to know in Azure Data Factory will be covered in this end-to-end project. Because I thought, Ansh Lamba, I know that your projects have already helped so many people, and your projects have absolutely mastered all those skills, all those real world use cases. Yes, in the projects we do use like sample datasets, very clean datasets, but you create the real-time scenarios out of those clean datasets. That is the X factor of my videos. I know that, but I thought, hey Ansh, just dedicate a whole project for Azure Data Factory, because I know my lovely data fam loves Azure Data Factory. So I thought like, hey, it's my duty for you to master, for you, so that you can just master Azure Data Factory. Okay. So within this, do you know what else we're gonna cover? We're gonna cover medallion architecture. That means we're gonna create the end-to-end medallion architecture with just using Azure Data Factory. That's it. It is the power of Azure Data Factory. We have data flows, we have mapping data flows, we have all the things. Then it's not just like creating the medallion architecture. We're gonna create production ready medallion architecture. What does that mean? You would have heard about alerts. If you have not heard, you should just hear it right now. So basically, whenever we just create the production ready pipelines, you need to take care of monitoring as well. So in this particular project, we're gonna just use something called as logic apps, which is totally a different resource of Azure, but it goes hand in hand with Azure Data Factory. Why we use logic apps and how we can just use it, don't worry, it will be covered in this particular video. Then last but not the least, Azure DevOps. As we know that being a data engineer, you should know about Git integration capabilities within the Azure Data Factory, especially how we configure it, how you can just make branches, how you can just create pull request, create the ARM templates. Everything will be covered in this particular project video. In short, you have everything that you need in this particular video. Okay. So I hope you loved this particular architecture. Okay. And if you loved it, just drop a lovely comment right now. And without delaying, let's get started. Ansh Lamba, where's the dataset? Don't worry, you will get to know along with this video, because there are so many different datasets. There are so many different data sources that we need to cover along with this video. Okay. So let's see. So first of all, in order to get started with this obviously project, you would need the environment. And what is environment? Environment is Azure. So you would need an Azure account, and the good news is it is free of cost. So if you already have one Azure account, you can use the existing one. Now you will say, hey, what if like I have already used all the credits and all? So the simple question and simple answer, you either need to create a new account, or you need to go with the pay as you go service, in which you would need to just pay for the services that you'll be using. That's it. Okay, and you can just check the website how much it will cost. It will be around, I think, approximately $1 to $2 per something per. You can just actually check it because I don't want to give you the false information. But yeah, you can just go with the pay as you go, and a lot of people use pay as you go account for learning purpose as well. So it's not a big deal. So you can simply search your free account. Okay, and you will land on any link. Okay, just click on the very first link, and here you can see that try Azure for free. So this is the service which is pay as you go. If you are creating the you can say Azure account for first time, you do not need to actually click on it because you can use the free credits. Click on try Azure for free, and it will actually ask you for the sign up. So if you already have one Outlook account, you can use that one. If you do not have any Outlook account or any Microsoft account, you need to click on create one and just click here and create a new one, and then just put the you can say email ID again at the same location. That's it. The thing is, when you will just put your email ID, it will give you a kind of form that you need to fill, your name, your details, everything. And then it will ask you for some details such as your card details and all, so that it can verify, okay, you will be using our services. Why it needs to verify? Because it gives you something called as $200, which is a big amount, not a small amount. And you actually use those 200 credits to use the services. And it will be, you can say, available for 30 days. So you can just complete this video within 30 days and you will not be charged. If 30 days are over, let's say you have already consumed that amount, you can say all the credits in other videos, you can simply pick pay as you go service and it is fine. You can simply go with that as well if you want to learn new things, because obviously, see, you are learning a technology, you are learning something, okay, and you are already from a background where you have already paid so much of money in your school, in your university, in your college, whatever. So you know this thing that if you want to learn something, you need to pay for the service, right? So currently you are watching this video and I am just making this available for free. That's it. But if you want to just, let's say your credits are over, you can actually go with the pay as you go service and you can just pay for the technology. That's fine. Okay, so it's up to you how you want to set up your environment. It's totally up to you. Okay, so once your environment is set up, now let's actually go inside our Azure portal account. And in order to go there, basically search portal.azure.com. This is the URL that we use. Hit enter and it will ask you, hey, put your email account that you have created. So you just need to put the same email account that you have created with your free credits, okay? And then everything will be fine. So let me quickly put my email and my credentials and let me just show you how our portal account looks like. And then we will be just setting up all the things. Don't worry at all, okay? Let's do it. So I am here on my Azure portal account, okay? And this is the homepage that you will also be seeing. It will not be exactly same. For example, these services can be different, okay? This is just like recent resources that you would have searched in the search bar and all, okay? So now we need to focus on Azure Data Factory, not on Azure itself, right? So what you will be doing, we will just discussing the stuff that are related for Azure Data Factory only. And the very first thing that we need to discuss is resource group. What is a resource group? Basically, resource group is a kind of your root directory, or you can say root folder, where you store all of the files, all of the applications, everything. Simple. The same thing that you do on your local machine. Same thing we have here, but we have a unique name called resource group. Why? Because within the resource group, we save, or you can say store, something called as resources. Now, what are resources? Resources, just a fancy name for the services that we use from Azure. If we are using Azure Data Factory, that is a resource. If we are using Data Lake, that is a resource. If we are using Azure Databricks, that is a resource. So all those services are just called as resources, just fancy name. And in order to hold all these services or resources, we have resource group. Simple, simple, simple. Very good. So now quickly create a resource group. And how you can create a resource group? You can either click on this, create a resource, or you can click on search bar. I prefer using search bar. I will simply go here and type resource group. Perfect. Click on this and here you will see all the resource group. I have so many. So just click on create. I will create a new one and I will name it as ADF project. Okay. Region, you can pick any region. I will simply pick Canada Central. Okay. Then click on review plus create and click on create for one more time, and that's it. That's it. Go to resource group, and I am here in my resource group. It is empty. Yeah. What are you expecting in this resource group, bro? You have just created it. So it is empty. Yeah, I know. And it should be empty. Now, we need to obviously work with Azure Data Factory. So what should be our first resource? Wow, very difficult question. Obviously, it should be Azure Data Factory, right? So simply click on plus create, okay, after going within this resource group, and just type. So basically, this will take you to the marketplace. So this is the marketplace where you can see all the services, all the resources, everything, okay? So I'll simply type Azure Data Factory, or just type Data Factory, same thing. Search, and this is the service that you need to pick. Do not pick any other one, okay? Just click here. And this is the service that we need to create. Oh, it has 607 ratings. Just 607 ratings? I was expecting at least millions. Click on create and perfect. So here's the thing. We need to configure our data factory. And you can see that it has auto-filled the resource group. Why? Because we created Azure Data Factory from inside the resource group. If you do not have resource group, if you're directly creating the data factory, you can click on create new. It will create a new resource group for you. That's the flexibility you have. Now let's give a unique name for our data factory. I will simply say Ansh Data Factory. Okay. This name is already taken. Who is Ansh? Who is Ansh? Who is using my name? Yes, you need to pick a unique name that should be unique, let's say, throughout the Azure network. I will say Ansh Data Factory, maybe. Taken. Ansh Lamba is taken. Not really. So Ansh Lamba Data Factory. Oh, come on, man. This is also taken. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Ansh Lamba Data Factory project. Is this available? Oh, finally. Ansh Lamba Data Factory project. So you can also pick any name. Okay. So region equals East US. Let's pick Canada Central because we should keep the resources within the same region in which we have resource group. It is good for the latency and all. Okay. Then Git configuration. So for now, we are not configuring Git. Yes, we will cover Git as well later on in this video. Once we have developed all the resources, I will just show you how you can just configure Git as well. But for now, configure Git later. Yes, we're gonna talk about Git as well in this particular video. This is like end-to-end video for you, bro. Click on review plus create, and that's it. It will create the Azure Data Factory for you. Okay, perfect. And I think it will take hardly a few seconds to create. See, it is created, it is done. So now you can either click on go to resource, but what I do, like I go to home page, I click on resource groups, I just search my resource group, and in our case it is ADF project, and from here I select the resource, and as you can see that we have ADF project data factory, yes, with this name. So let's actually go inside this and let's actually explore what do we have. Okay, click here and then just click on launch studio. Perfect. So now this is our Azure Data Factory portal. Wow. Let me first of all close all the unnecessary tabs. Very good. So you will get a pop-up if you have not set up the code repository. It is fine. We will set up the code repository later in this video. Don't worry. Just close it. So this is the home page. Okay. This is the home page of your Azure Data Factory portal basically. So what do we have in this particular Azure Data Factory? Nothing special. This is the home page where you can see ingest, orchestrate, transform data, configure SSIS. So these are basically, you can say, quick templates, or you can say quick guidance that Azure has given to us, because obviously whenever they launch a technology, they need to guide you, right? So you can click on ingest or orchestrate. So it will ask you some things and your work will be done. But the thing is, see, everything is there. But the thing is, this card changes. The thing is, you cannot learn by using these things. You have to learn everything from scratch, like manually, right? We know that we have some automated things. And let me just tell you, in the real world, we rarely use these things. Why? Because every solution is unique. Every solution is like depending on so many things. right? And you need to configure all those things manually, and you cannot learn all those things by just clicking on these templates. Okay, so we will be just developing everything from scratch, so that is a good thing. Then this is the thing, author is your, you can say, go-to tool, because you will be developing everything within this tab, so that is fine. Let's click on monitor and let's see what do we have in monitor. So in monitor, as the name suggests, it is for monitoring whatever you are doing within your data factory. Everything will be here, all the pipeline runs, all the failures, success, in progress, status, everything in the pipeline runs. In the trigger runs, it is very similar to pipeline runs, but trigger is just like when you create a trigger to automatically run your pipeline. We're going to talk about triggers as well, don't worry. Then we have change data capture. This is a new thing, which is not really new, but yeah, it is still in preview, so I will count it as new. So change data capture is something like when you just want to ingest the data as soon as data is changed in the source. As the name suggests, change data capture. We do not need to worry about that for now. Okay. This is the thing, integration runtime. This is very important. And this is very important if you want to migrate the data from on-premise to Azure. And we're going to talk about this in detail because this is really important. Okay. So the thing is, what is, first of all, integration runtime? Integration runtime is basically a kind of computation resource for your Azure Data Factory portal, with the help of which it migrates the data, it transforms the data, it executes the activity. So for all those purposes, it needs some kind of computation resource, right? Some kind of computation to run the services, to, let's say, run the data flows, to run the data migration activities, everything. It needs some computation resource, right? So for all those things, we use something called as integration runtime. Okay, this is simple. But who created this, Anshlamba? So this is, you can say, by default created for you. So if you want to, let's say, migrate data within Azure, if you want to process data within Azure, you can use integration runtime provided by Azure, and this is managed by Azure. That is why it is called auto resolve integration runtime. And you can see type is Azure. It is public. It is currently running because it is obviously all the time running. Okay, so this is like the runtime that it provides to you to run anything. But in order to migrate the data from on-premise to Azure, you need to create your own integration runtime and you need to host it to your own local machine. That is why it is called self-hosted integration runtime. Make sense? So that is why we have another tab, self-hosted, and we do not have anything. Don't worry, we'll be creating a new self-hosted integration runtime very soon, and don't worry about that. Then we have Azure, which is Azure SSIS. If you want to, let's say, migrate SSIS jobs, which was very popular integration tool, or is, I would say, for on-premise ETL flows, so you can even import it as well. We do not have anything for now, so that is fine. And obviously not anything for Airflow as well. But we're going to talk about self-hosted in very much in detail, don't worry, because this is the backbone of migrating data from on-premise to Azure, and you need to understand what's going on behind the scenes, not just like, hey, what are the steps, that's it. No, you need to understand what's going on. So basically, if I click on self-hosted integration runtime, okay, I do not have anything, right? So what I will do, I will simply go to manage tab. Now what is this manage tab? Manage tab, as the name suggests, it is used for managing your data factory portal and all the resources, all the objects within the data factory. Let's start from the top. You will see connections. What are connections? Linked services. Okay. So connections are just linked services. Kind of. So basically, let's talk about what is a linked service. First of all, but this is like, you can say, very first thing that you need to know in data factory. And let me just tell you, this is very simple. So linked service. Linked service is just the fancy name for your connection. So really, I think Azure likes using fancy names. So connection. Just tell you one thing. Just forget about Azure, forget about AWS, forget about GCP, anything. Let's say you want to migrate a data. Okay. Let's even forget about migration. You want to use a data. Let's say you have a data sitting in any source. Okay. Sitting in any source. And you are here. You want to use this data. Okay. This is your data. Can you do it directly? No. Obviously, we need to create a connection. That is the thing. That connection is called link service in Azure. So if you have a source, okay, you need to create a connection with it. It is called link service. That's it. Let's say you want to push this data to a destination. Okay, this is the destination. Can you do that? No. Obviously, we need a kind of connection, like where it is going, folder name, file name, database name, you can say host name. Exactly. You need a linked service for that as well. So whenever you are migrating data, or let's say using a data or writing the data, you need a connection between you, or you can say your ADF, and your object, from where you are reading the data or to where you are writing the data. That connection is called link service. That's it. Simple, simple, simple. Fancy name, fancy name. That is a link service for you. And yes, we will be creating link services, a lot of link services, APIs, on-prem, SQL, a lot of, don't worry. Then we have integration runtimes. Let's talk about integration runtimes. So basically this is the integration runtime, and we have this integration runtime which is automatically given to us by Azure. Okay, very good. If I click on it, we will see something called as monitor. We will see a code. If we want to see it, I can click on it, and this is the thing that I can see, and data flow runtime. I can even see the health of it by clicking on monitor, and it will show me everything. It is running and everything is fine. Very good. Okay, very, very, very good. So let's go to manage, and yes, we can create new integration runtimes, and we're gonna create it very soon. And before that, let me just cover these things very quickly because these are like normal things. We have Microsoft Purview. What is Microsoft Purview? So basically Microsoft Purview is another service which is provided by Microsoft. It goes hand in hand with Azure, and it is basically used to track all the data. It is basically a data governance tool that tracks, hey, from where the data is coming, hey, from where data is going, like, or you can say to where data is going. Hey, what are the schema changes? Hey, what are this? What are that? All those data governance things can be done using Microsoft Purview. It is very popular tool, Microsoft Purview. Data governance is itself not very popular. That is why this tool is also very not widely heard in the industry, but this is really, really good. And this tool is also in, I think, Fabric as well. It's called Fabric Purview. So Purview is really good. Okay. Then we have ADF in Microsoft Fabric, same thing. So if you have ADF, which is Data Factory, and if you just want to do a lift and shift of your Data Factory pipelines in Fabric, which is, you can say, the future technology of Azure, you can just do it in one click. That's it. That is why I always say focus on Data Factory, because Data Factory is the backbone of Azure and Fabric both. You cannot say, hey, Azure Data Factory will not be in use because Azure will be replaced by Fabric. It's not the case, bro. It is not the case. Focus on Azure Data Factory because Azure Data Factory is the backbone. And you know what? You can even watch my Fabric Data Factory videos. 99% of the things are exactly the same. 99. Or I will say 90. Okay, not 99. 90% of the things are exactly the same. Exactly. So that's the clear indication. Focus on Azure Data Factory. It is not going anywhere. Okay. Then we have source control that we're going to talk about later in the video when we will be just deploying these things. Okay. Then we have triggers. Obviously, trigger is just like, as the name suggests, it is used to trigger the pipeline automatically. Okay. Then we have some global parameters, data flow libraries. That is fine. Security, credentials and all. So all these things are here, but this is the thing that we're going to talk about right now. Integration runtime. So this integration runtime is already running for us, and this is fine. And we are happy with that. Okay. Now I have some data, as we discussed, in my on-premise machine. Okay. So what I will do, let me just explain you the whole, you can say, flow. Okay. Because this is really important. Or let's say you have your data in any machine. Let's not just talk about your local machine. Maybe your data is on your friend's local machine, because it does not actually care where your data is sitting. No, it does not actually care. It just cares about to which machine I have registered my, you can say, integration runtime. So the thing is, what we will do, we will simply create an integration runtime. Okay, like this. Let's say this is a new one. This is the first one. This is the second one. Okay. We will get a key. Okay. Okay. And this is the machine where you have the data. Okay. Where you have the data. Okay. So you will download an application called integration runtime Okay, integration runtime makes sense. Then you will register this application with this key. Okay, with this particular key. Okay, you will register with this particular key. Now this integration runtime knows this one, which is on the Azure, that you are actually hosting this integration runtime on this particular machine. Make sense? On this particular machine. Now let's say you want to load data which is sitting in the form of blobs. Okay, which is sitting in the form of blobs, and that data is actually on the local machine. Maybe because what I feel with the rise of AI, especially domains like finance, accounting, they do store data in databases, but they do have a lot of invoices, a lot of, you can say, contracts, everything which cannot be stored in the on-prem SQL databases. So then they have to migrate those data as well to cloud, or they want to use that data sitting in the virtual machines, not on the databases. That is why learning how to use that data, how to load that data to Azure using integration runtime is even more important than using, or you can say learning how to import data or load data or migrate data from on-prem SQL server to Azure. Make sense? So now let's say this data is sitting in the drive. It can be local drive, it can be hosted drive as well. Okay, because you can connect to any drive. So let's say this is the hosted drive and you have the data sitting here in the form of files, or like, let's say blobs. You can actually load this data. This is the local, you can say, drive. So Azure will automatically connect this particular ADF portal to this particular drive. Why? Because it knows your integration runtime is here, and the local drive is accessible because integration runtime is detected automatically with this key. So this key is here, okay, and it's all the local drives are actually accessible. Plus, let's say in your virtual machine, you have some hosted drives as well. Let's say you have some network drives and all, you can actually use those as well. That's not a big deal. But what resource will be used to perform all this thing will be hosted by you, not by Azure. So this integration runtime will be managed by you, because this integration runtime will actually use the resources of this machine. It will no longer be managed by Azure or Microsoft. Make sense? So now in this particular video, we're going to talk about how we can load these blobs, because this is even more important with the rise of AI. Trust me, this is even more important. Okay, let's actually start the creation of integration runtime. Okay, because now you understood the concept. I will click on plus new. Okay, and here you will see what you want to create. Azure self-hosted? Yes. Click on this, click on continue. Then Azure or self-hosted? Self-hosted. Click on continue. Then what is the name? I will simply say Ansh self-hosted. Okay. Description is optional. You can click on create. So perfect. Now it is saying successfully saved, successfully created. And as you can see that you will see two keys here. Okay. Obviously I have blurred it. You can obviously see in your case. There are two keys. Okay. Now you can actually copy any of the keys and you can store it in a secure place. You can access any time within Azure as well, but just for the setup it will be easier, right? Then you need to click on download and install runtime manual option, manual setup. You do not need to click on express setup. You just click on manual setup. The moment you click on it, oops, I just pressed escape. So do not need to worry. You can click on this thing, and the same thing will open. Okay. The moment you will click on download and install runtime, it will open a window where it will say, hey, you can download it. Okay. Just click on the download button and just select this particular runtime, which is good enough to be downloaded. Okay. Then click on download. Okay. Then it will be downloaded. Obviously I have already downloaded it on my system. You can just download it as well. Then what you need to do? Then you need to simply go to download and install it. Obviously you would have installed so many applications. Simply say next, install. Sometimes it takes time. Okay. Sometimes it takes a lot of time. So you need to be, you can say have patience, because the thing is, let's say you have installed an application two times. Then you will not be prompted to put the registration, which is really important. So if that happens with you, just simply uninstall the application and then install it with patience. Simply double click on it and then wait. Do not double click. It will simply mess up. Okay. Then I will go search and I will search integration runtime. As you can see in my case, I have already pinned in my start option. So now it is saying, hey, register integration runtime. Now I need to simply copy the key from here, and then I need to let's say copy, and then I will simply paste it here. Simple. Okay. Then I will say register. It is finished. So now it is initializing integration runtime. Self-hosted node components. Please wait. This may take a few seconds. Yeah. So it will simply take some time to set up that thing. So as I said, that is the thing that you need to set up as the first thing, because you should have all the integration runtimes in place to get started with the project, so that you will not be blocked later in the video. Make sense? So now it will take a few seconds, and let's see how long it takes, because it should not take much time, because once it is up and running, I will simply see here green sign here. See, it is done. It is saying integration runtime successful. So I will simply say launch configuration manager. Yes, it is a kind of manager that you can manage integration runtime. As I said, you need to manage it. So it has something called as configuration manager, but it is fine. I will simply say close and cancel. So now if I refresh, now you will see it is up and running. Now I can use this particular self-hosted integration runtime to, you can say, use my on-prem data or any data which is, you can say, hosted on a net, you can say maybe on-prem SQL server, because see, on-prem SQL server is also like private network, a kind of private network which you cannot like publicly pull the data. So for all those things, if you have like data hosted in public networks, you have to use your own self-hosted, you can say, integration runtimes. Whether it is SQL server, it is on-prem SQL server, Microsoft SQL server, which is obviously hosted on private network if it is an organization's data. In that particular scenario as well, you need to use this self-hosted integration runtime. If you have data sitting in your local drives, you need to use self-hosted integration runtime. If you have data sitting in hosted drives, then also you need to use self-hosted integration runtime. Make sense? I hope this thing is clear, because I was receiving so many messages. Ansh, create on-prem to Synapse, on-prem to Azure, on-prem to this. So now you have this. Okay. So now everything is sorted. Very good. So now let's talk about the linked services, because obviously now we have integration runtime up and running, self-hosted, and obviously the Azure one as well. So now we have everything to get started. Okay. So first of all, we will create the linked service with the on-prem, you can say, folder. Why? Because see, we started with self-hosted integration runtime. So now I think it will make more sense to go with the flow. Let's actually start with the on-prem link service. Let me just tell you, it is the most critical one and a little bit complex, but I will help you to just tackle all the challenges, because on-prem link service, especially for blobs, especially for files, is not easy. Okay. For on-prem SQL server, it is still easier, but for files, it is tricky. So let me just tell you, and don't worry. Let me just give you, you can say, reality check. Yes, you may face some errors, but you have to be, you can say, patient enough to just retry and just try with some more and more things. And let me just tell you, I also like faced so many challenges when I was just linking this particular with the local file system, because there was not actually any kind of official documentation like how we can just, you can say, use the files, or you can say on-prem files. So I just spent, I would say, at least 10 to 15 hours to solve that. And then I just made a node, and then I just refer to that. So basically just click on link services. Okay. And don't worry, don't need to worry. I am here just to help you. So now I've just clicked on link services. So whatever connections I need to make with ADF. So let me just give you a quick overview. See, we do have like so many connectors. Okay. So we can actually connect with these sources, and that's the power of ADF, I would say. Okay. So the linked service that we want to create with the file system, right? So we have a connector file for file system. Just search file, and this is the one. Do not pick Azure file storage because we are not using Azure file storage. We are using our own file system, right? Click on continue. That's it. So first of all, it is saying, hey, just give a good name to link service. I will simply say ls on-prem file. Okay. Makes sense? Okay. Or yeah, file is good. Second thing is you need to pick the integration runtime. As I just told you that you have to use self-hosted integration runtime for on-prem and private networks, right? So I will simply pick on self-hosted. Now, what is the host? This is one of the tricks. Okay. So the thing is, whenever you will be working in the real world, in the industry, in the corporate, yes, you will be using, you can say, hosted drives. What are hosted drives? Basically, when you work in a corporate, they do not use your, you can say, local machines drive. Yes, they use machines drive, local machines drive, but that machine is like hosted somewhere. That drive is hosted somewhere. So that is why you are seeing example server name and then shared folder and then folder name. But obviously when you are using your local system, you do not need to provide the server name. Why? Because the integration runtime is also installed on the same machine. So it will auto detect the server. It is just like whenever you just create a web app, you just write localhost. So it is something similar to that one. But yes, when you will be working with the corporate, you need to just type the server name. What will be the server name? You do not need to worry because networking team will provide the server name to you, like on which server this drive is hosted. You are a data engineer, not a astrologer that you would know, hey, where the drive is hosted. So you do not need to worry about those things. But yes, when you are just building, you can say real projects, you need to know each and everything. Okay. So what will be the host in my case? So this is my folder that I'm going to use and it is in the C drive. Okay. So what I will do, I will simply double click on it and these are the 3 files that I have put here. Don't worry, these files will be available on my GitHub. You can easily download it and you can also create a folder in C drive. Why C drive? It will be easier to configure. Do not create folders or files in the documents or desktop. It is always recommended to create the files in a drive itself. Yes, those will be also saved in the drive, but it will be easier to set up, right? So that is why I have also created a folder called Anshlamba files. Okay. And I will simply go here and I will simply get these files. But before that, I need the host. I will simply click on this, the URL, and I will copy and paste it here. So this is my host. See, simple. Now, this is the most trickiest part. What is the username and password? Because every system is unique. Every system is unique. And it totally depends like how you have set up your system. Okay. But I will just try to, you can say, cover all the scenarios. Scenario number 1, when you have set up your machine, basically, see, it is asking username and password. That means obviously you need, you can say, a kind of password whenever you log in the laptop. And nowadays, I know everyone's privacy is really, really important. So you would have set up the password in your laptop. If not, you can do it right now because it is really important. Okay. So let's say you have set up the password. But now the thing is, when you set up your laptop for the first time, you get an option, hey, do you want to set up your Windows account with the Microsoft account, or you just want to go with the local username? Sometimes, or I would say in the modern days, when you are just buying the new laptop, you would just get started with the Microsoft account. Why? Because you want all the data, all the things get synced up in your new laptop that you have in the previous laptop. A lot of people do this, right? So they actually start with the Microsoft account. So if you also have set up your laptop with the Microsoft account, okay, and you are not, you know that you are not using local username, you are actually using, you can say, your Microsoft account to log in every time, or you can say to start the laptop, then you need to put your Microsoft email and password. Okay, Microsoft email and Microsoft password. Listen to me carefully. Listen to me carefully. This is very important. Otherwise, you will face errors. Yes. See, Microsoft email and Microsoft password. Do not put computer's password that you put. Microsoft email and Microsoft password. So far, so good. Very good. Now the question can be, hey Anshlamba, how we can just verify if we are using Microsoft account or if we are using local username? That's a very good question. So the question is very simple. Whenever you use Microsoft account to to create the, you can say, or to start the laptop, you actually do not put the password again and again because you would have set up the hello Windows pin. So what you can do, just go to settings. Okay, just go to settings. Okay, then after settings, just go to the accounts. Okay, then after going to the accounts, you will go to view profile. Okay, there you will see everything. Okay, sometimes, and it happened to me as well, sometimes people link their OneDrive with their laptop and they think that they are using Microsoft account to log in, or you can say to start the laptop. That's not the case. Okay, so it totally depends how you have set up your profile. So simply go to view profile. If you are seeing something called as start or login with Microsoft account instead, that means it is